from the News Channel 5 network. This is the plus side of Nashville.
Hi everybody, I'm Tuwanda Coleman. Welcome to the plus side of Nashville. You know, I'm excited to share with you all the many positive things happening in the lives of children thanks to organizations that we're featuring today. A Soldier's Child Foundation is a nonprofit that's stepping in for those special moments in the life of a child who's lost a parent during active military duty. We'll talk about how the foundation is helping these children both emotionally and financially in just a bit. But we're starting things off on a classical note. How many children or teens do you know that play or listen to classical music? Unfortunately, it's probably not that many, but my first guest hopes that's about to change. Kelly Corcoran is an orchestra conductor and the artistic director of the contemporary music ensemble Intersection, and I welcome you, Kelly, to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure. So many people will recognize your name, will recognize you as having been with the Nashville Symphony for many years. You have a love of classical music, and I'm just curious to know, what is it about classical music that you love?
There are so many things. I mean, first of all, I think classical music, of course, is hundreds of years old, but it's alive and well. Composers today are living and writing new music, and it's still going. And so the depth of this repertoire is really exciting to me, all the different kinds of music that we can discover. And I think also classical music has this way of exploring our emotions as a human being. You know, we can experience joy and exuberance, but, you know, maybe sadness or pensiveness, or, you know, even meditate and kind of be still for a moment and really kind of probe human experience in a way through this music. And of course the color of orchestral music is really exciting to me, but classical music as a whole, you know, there's of course piano music and strings and winds and brass and percussion, and even nowadays composers are using electronic instruments and all kinds of things. It just keeps evolving, so that's really exciting too.
It really is. I love classical music. It's taken me a little while. You know, growing up I was never really exposed to it, but as an adult I've learned to love it. And you say that classical music is for everyone, but don't you feel that there's a little bit of a misconception surrounding it? What do you think the biggest misconception is about classical music?
Yeah, I think sometimes people might think, oh, well, I have to know something to enjoy classical music, or maybe it's expensive, or, you know, there might be other, or maybe just somebody maybe might feel like, is that venue or that place somewhere where I can feel comfortable? And
orchestra,
you know,
music, is that, do I go to a symphony theater?
Right.
You know, what is this? Is this for me type thing?
Right, absolutely. And so, I mean, that's a big thing Intersection is trying to do, is kind of break down those barriers by performing all over the community, accessible ticket prices, and just, you know, new music to have new experiences with this repertoire.
So you mentioned Intersection just a minute ago. For folks who may not be familiar with us, talk and explain a little bit about what is Intersection.
Sure. Well, we are a collective of musicians performing contemporary classical music. So by contemporary classical music, we mean, you know, music of the 21st and 20th century. I mean, music composed during our lives. So it's really exciting, I think, because composers today are influenced by the world around us in which we live. So this repertoire, you know, might be informed by stuff happening, you know, in politics or culture, or but yet it's timeless too, right? You know, there's still love and all those wonderful things that come forward too. So yeah, Intersection, we do live performances. We also have a program for kids, encouraging them to write and create new music. And then we also have some monthly partnerships. We perform at Room in the Inn once a month, and then also at Kidsville once a month. So partnerships are a big part of what we do too.
Well, I know you want to see classical music grow well into our future, and that for more young people to be exposed to it. Elaborate a little bit more on it's Contempo Kids, and I know you work with a well-known music school here in Nashville, the W.O. Smith School. In what way are you working to help young people sort of have appreciation for classical music?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think, you know, obviously music education in and of itself is such an incredible tool that we have to excite and stimulate young people. You know, I mean, it's just, there's all kinds of great data about kids staying in school and just being engaged in the value of music education. But specifically, Contempo Kids is about music creation and writing new music. You know, a lot of times kids are performing music that may have been written by somebody else, but we want kids to cultivate their own unique voice and bring that forward through the vehicle of music. And obviously, you know, we're classical musicians, so we're going to bring classical instruments into that discussion and notation and, you know, Western kind of thoughts, but we're not limiting it to that either. You know, we want kids to go in whatever music avenue or exploration that speaks to them, and we're going to support them and invite them to go down that explorative path. So we've brought in all kinds of new tools and technology in our curriculum. We've designed a whole curriculum that we've created, and we've piloted it at W.S. Smith, and we're continuing to work with W.S. Smith every year to reach the kids there, and then we have other programs in the community where kids can participate in Contempo Kids as well.
I love that. If a parent, you know, is thinking, how could I maybe get my child, you know, to love classical music, how were you when you first heard and started to love classical music, and what advice would you have for parents and how they may be able to help their children to learn a little bit more about it?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think exposure, of course, is really important. And so, you know, the schools are a wonderful place for that. But in our community, there are so many wonderful ways in which we can experience classical music in our community. And, you know, we were chatting even about how it just takes one performance or one person to make a difference in your life. You know, I know for myself, my dad was a police officer and my mom was a businesswoman, and I didn't grow up listening to classical music in my house, and yet here I am, an orchestral conductor. And I think it was because when I was in school, in high school really, I came to it kind of late. I had one music teacher who really opened up all this repertoire to me and taught me music theory and piano and all these things, and it was just this cascading, you know, all this stuff that I didn't know about that was really exciting to me. So it can just take one teacher or one person, but you know, sometimes going to a performance and hearing an orchestra for the first time or hearing an ensemble for the first time at Intersection, you know, we want kids to feel very close to our musicians and, you know, be on the same level and, you know, be able to see the cello up close and you know, really feel like we're the same. You know, we're just having a different way of experiencing this music together, but we're together in this experience.
So Intersection has been around for 4 years now. How did you come up with the idea for this? Is this something that, you know, weighed on you for a while, and then you came up with the name as well? Like, talk a little bit about how you came up with the name and just really how you wanted to sort of further classical music in the community.
Right, sure. Well, I think sometimes when we think of classical music, we might think of Mozart or Tchaikovsky or Beethoven or, you know, people who are long dead.
And that was one of those misconceptions that I was thinking about that some people have.
Absolutely. And so I thought, you know, here we are, Nashville, it's Music City, and we really should have a professional ensemble dedicated to new music, contemporary classical music. So, you know, composers that are writing for strings and, you know, or you know, all kinds of instruments, all kinds of tools that are in front of them. And then regarding the name Intersection, this idea of a place where different things can come together and intersect or meet. So it could be a composer that has different influences. Maybe it's their culture, maybe it's you know, teachers that influence them, but it could also be a dance company working with us or a film company working with us. And yeah, so just bringing different things together.
Well, I know you said bringing all these different things together. Explain what an Intersection concert might look like, because it may not just be all musicians playing.
Right. We like to say they're music experiences. So by that, you know, really engaging different senses too. We did a concert at the Musicians Hall of Fame and Museum where the audience got up and moved in the middle of the concert. They heard half of it in one space and half of it in another space, you know, and so really for us it's anything's possible. Anything can happen at an Intersection concert. And so it really is kind of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to come and experience this repertoire in this setting with these partners in this location, you know, really just pushing all of those boundaries and exploring together.
And folks can learn about where they will be able to come out to see an Intersection concert. You offer a newsletter.
We do, yeah.
And tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So, you know, our website's intersectionmusic.org, and you can sign up for our newsletter list, and then you'll get monthly updates about our performances and the venues. All of our rehearsals are open to the public, too. We want people to come and hear this repertoire and experience it. So we're all about breaking down any barrier we can for people.
Where do you rehearse?
All different places through the community. So we've worked with Conexión Americas and Casa Azafrán.
Yes.
W.O. Smith has hosted our rehearsals. So we have a lot of really wonderful community partners that open their doors to us so that we can be here for the community.
And all of that's on the newsletter. Fantastic. Well, let's give that website one more time so if folks want to know more about where they can find you.
So it's intersectionmusic.org.
Fantastic. Kelly, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I have grown to love classical music, and I did have some misconceptions growing up that it was probably not something that I would enjoy because I'm thinking of Mozart and some things like that. But I've learned to love Mozart and all of those types of things. A lot of it is exposure, and thank you for exposing our community more to classical music.
Thank you.
And we're going to take a break, but when we come back, hear how one organization is trying to bring a little joy and normalcy into the lives of military personnel who've lost their lives while on active duty.